All right, Buzz babies, and welcome back to another episode of Blake's Buzz. Again, folks, I don't know how I chase some episodes after another because I just keep getting lucky with the comic book stars. And I got another one, folks. One of my favorite writers and artists and just all around people, Mr. Daniel Warren Johnson, is in the house. If you've never heard that name, first of all, shame on you. Second of all, go buy Murder Falcon right now. Just I'll wait. So will Daniel. Go.
I
I'm
will.
just kidding. Daniel, how are you doing today, sir? So excited to talk. I ask right as he's taking a drink of water.
I'm doing real good.
Hell yeah, man. Awesome. As I mentioned, I know you've got other projects and stuff out, but when like many of us, right? I experienced Murder Falcon and had no idea where you were going to take us and the heartbreak and tears that would I want to know like how many comics were ruined of like CGC 9.8s that are now 9.5s or lower because of fallen teardrops on those pages, right? Like I mean it was just you really like brought forth like emotions I hadn't felt in a really long time. And you continue to do that throughout every new piece you've done, do a power bomb. Like if you didn't cry reading that, I question if you that's the new, what is it, the litmus test or whatever, like however you figure out if you're AI or not, like that's the new test. You read do a power bomb and you don't cry, you are not human, person. So like get out of here. And I made the joke when they announced you on Transformers. I was like, not only do I want to read like Transformers again, right? But I bet you I'm gonna cry reading Transform. Like I was like, I know it's gonna happen. And sure, issue 6, man, you did like, oh, dude, you bring these emotions into the field of battle, into narrative play that you don't expect. And I mean, I guess just tell us all your secrets, Daniel. Like, the world needs to know, like, where did your dark magic powers come from? Who, like, teach us the summoning spell? Like, I don't, how do we do this? You can't draw and tell stories that good. It should be against the rules, but you're breaking them. You're breaking all the rules, man. Anyway, sorry,
Oh
I'll let you
man.
talk now. Like,
Okay. Oh shoot. Oh damn. You're buttering me up, dude. Oh dude. Oh. Um. Wow. What's the magic sauce? Okay. What's the magic sauce? You know what it is? I think this is for me,
okay.
just me. But making comics is like a lot of work. Like a lot of work. And I remember before I really started doing comics, I would listen to interviews this is back in like 2010, 2011. So not podcasts were not as readily available. YouTube was kind of getting started, but there were little interviews here and there. And a lot of times a recurring theme I'd hear from comic book artists is I got to draw the same X, Y, and Z over and over again on every panel. And it's like really brutal. And I'm like, nah, come on, it's not that bad, you know. And then, of course, I started working on Space Mullet, my first book, and I'm like, oh my God, I have to draw this every panel. um, so what basically I was kind of awoken to the necessities of the drawing life and the comic book life. And there are shortcuts and there are ways to make it happen visually. But in my opinion, the best way to enjoy the process the whole way through and really feel like you're building something special is by having some sort of emotional core at the center of the book that will actually carry you through. So, like you mentioned, do a power bomb, right? You think about how many freaking crowds are in do a power bomb. Like, I was like, how do I fake this? How do I not draw all these people in the stands,
Mhm.
And I found that there was no way. I just had to do it. Um, but I can honestly say I didn't ever really got like discouraged, or I wasn't feeling like it was too much work because I kind of like knew what the vibe of the story was, and so that was like my goal, and I could see it on my head, and it's not like I was like just making lines for lines' sake, you know. Like if I didn't have to draw a crowd or a crowd scene, I wouldn't draw it because it doesn't matter for the story. I'm not trying to like show off how great I can draw crowds. most of the time I draw a line of people that are detailed, and then the rest is just nibbling, nibbling. um, but every time where like the bar would need to be raised art wise, there was a specific reason for it, and that was to make that story and to make that heart really kind of show and like shine out for all to see as best as it possibly could. So I guess that's kind of a backdooring your question. It's like I feel like one of the reasons that the stories work is that I'm trying to put as much of myself into them as possible, be open with it, and then also recognize that the art that I'm making is in service to that emotion of that story, and then everything starts working in tandem when you have that like kind of, pardon my pun, the matrix of leadership right in the center. Like it's shining out, dude, and it just kind of affects everything it touches. So including the creative process, which is super important for me for not burning out, for like staying on my deadlines, for dealing with all the other stuff in comics that's not drawing and writing. So, and like being self-employed, which is not easy. It helps carry me through in a way that I hope is healthy, and hopefully makes for some good reading.
Well, I don't know about I'm not the person to talk to about what is healthy and what's not. But it definitely makes for good reading. I will tell you that. I know you mentioned Space Mullet, and I just wanted to have this sitting here because I just wanted you to know that I have the original trade. I'm one of the real ones, bud. All right, so I'm just kidding. But that's that was like originally a web comic, right? Like
It was.
and then it got printed, and then it's sold out. Because when I bought mine, I had to do some digging to find it, and then I bought one from a third party Amazon person, and they did that deal where it was like it shipped and then it never showed up, and then I was like, but then I went to eBay and then lucked out. Like this, it's a pristine, like I'm a
Yep.
nerd. I keep my trades real. I try to keep my trades nice and stuff,
Good man.
So it showed up and it was great. And I love the blue. Like I love how you like incorporated the blue into it. Like it's this like black, white, and blue. I don't know, it adds a coolness to it, right? But not just like a temperature, like a vibe too, right? It really does something extra to it. Or like Marvel's kind of black, white, and red, but it's not as punchy as the red is. It's
Mm-hmm.
more, it's a chill. It's nice. But so that's getting reprinted too. And so this is a time for you now where some of your older works are being brought forth again to, I'm sure like a lot of people have read these, but more you're the guy writing Transformers. This is getting this new hardcover, these new trades, right? So like, new people are going to find some of your older stuff now with Space Mullet, with the hardcover of Extremity, and also with the Kickstarters wrapping up too, which is, I'm sorry it didn't do as good as you thought. I think it was like 400,000. I mean, I was, sometimes you just don't get there. I'm just kidding. Congratulations on that. It's a beautiful book and an amazing campaign. Well, what's
Yes,
that
that's
like?
awesome.
what's what's that like? You're having this really like another pivotal moment of your career, right? You're in deep in the Energon universe, right? And you're doing all this cool stuff. You're playing with these toys that you played with as a kid, right? And bringing them to new audiences. But also at the same time now, some of your older works are going to come forth now and be treated as new releases with new editions and a new hardcover, bigger, better pages. Like not everybody gets to experience that. What's that like? And how'd that kind of happen? Like right now, like I mean, I know things start spaced out and kind of release all together, but
Mm.
I mean, it's just like you're feel like everything's happening for you right now. It's just like boom, 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 boom. It's like anybody who was hungry for Daniel's full. like don't save some for later, right? Save some for appetizers. The dessert plate hasn't even showed up. What are we gonna do, man?
I think it's, well, one thing that I got the rights back from Space. Let's talk about Space Mullet first. So with Space Mullet, I was just trying to make something to try and teach myself how to make comics. The first page is like, that's some humble salad, dude. It's not. I mean, like, I'm still like proud of it because I remember how much work I put into it. But I look at it now and it's like looking at a picture of myself, like that was like, I don't know, like really out of shape or something, you know, like it was like proto me. And I'm still trying to get better now, even now, like as an artist and as a writer. But that was like the very, 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 very early days of me wrestling with perspective and what kind of style did I want. I mean, the style of mine would change like every page on the first like two and a half chapters of Space Mullet, because it was me drawing 2 pages a week, so it's more spaced out, so there's more time for it to like change visually. So it's like a flip book of me like figuring how to make stuff. So, in some ways I was a little bit like, oh good, it's out of print, I won't have to worry about it. And then I was also like, wait a minute. Like, I feel like if like, so there are creators that I really love that have had, a career that has spanned years, and I love all of it. And I've like loved every iteration. And it's just like another like spot on the mark of growth, like when your kid like gets a little older, and it's like each knock on the kitchen door to show like that's how far they've come. And I am encouraged as well as an artist that's always trying to get better by seeing my heroes, like seeing where they came from and how they got started, and seeing what there is that I can still celebrate and see in my mind, like see how like some of how their lines grew and how their skills grew and developed into who they are as an artist today. It's something that I think should be celebrated and should be out there. And I'm happy that it's out there. And it just so happened like Space Mullet was supposed to come out last year before Christmas, but Image's trade schedule was very stacked up, so we just pushed it. And then I remember the Extremity Kickstarter was also supposed to happen in November or late October, right around the time Transformers issue 1 was going to come out. But I was like in the SHIT deadline wise, like I really had to work on Transformers, and I've been doing a lot of stuff for the Kickstarter now. So I kind of had to wait until art duties were done, and Skybound was kind of reading the room, and they're like, okay, let's push till March. So yes, happenstance, dude. Like it's just everything kind of happening at once as far as the reprints are concerned. And it is weird, it's like a different version of myself out there again. But part of it is just, being okay with who I was then and who I am now. And also it's like, I don't want to just sit on Space Mullet. It's stuff that people should be able to read. And it's not like I really have to work that hard to put it out. And yo, my kids got to go to college someday, so let's go. I got to get that money.
Yeah, you heard it. Buy Space Mullet so his baby can go to college. Like it's simple math. It's not selfish. He's just trying to get his kid educated. They're still pretty small, right? You had the baby not a few years ago, maybe
2022. So I have a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old.
Oh, you got two. Okay, I thought you just had the one. Wow, you're just producing all the future comic book greats over there. Are they gonna be little wrestlers or little artists? Or
you made a little Optimus Prime right there.
Oh wow, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Is this your work desk? Is this where like all the magic happens?
It's my Transformers toys.
Nice.
And yeah, it's a good time. There's a lot here. It's a little extra, but it's very red. When I painted it, all my friends were like, "What are you doing?" And then I put all the stuff in it and balanced it out. It's like Del Toro's Bleak House. I'm a big fan of Del Toro, so that was the inspiration. Okay. But yeah, and I got a really sweet Akira bike here too.
Amazing. So I heard you're a pretty big manga anime nerd too, right? Like
huge.
Yeah, I just so like 2 years ago I got into manga bad, and it started with the Akira box set, and that beautiful box set with the hardcovers, and like a lot of manga you don't get like dust jackets with the hardcovers, right? So like this whole set was just like beautiful, and like the magnets in the box, like I was like, why can't we get nice things like this in comic? Anyway, but like I usually have to take breaks when I read big runs, right? And that was the thing. I read all those volumes just like back to back, staying up till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, dragging ass in the morning, tired for work, but worth every minute I didn't sleep. Right.
Yeah.
Oh man, and then after that, it was like it turned into a problem. It was just like I was like, I'm doing it again. I bought during COVID, the peak of COVID, I found retail therapy, right? And so
Yeah.
I started collecting omnibuses and nicer hardcovers and stuff like that. Quickly got to the point where I was like, I don't have time to read the books that I'm buying. I've eventually calmed down. Now it's happening again with manga, and I like they put them in these boxes. You get the box sets with like 30 books in them. I love that, dude. I'm like, oh yeah, like and I just recently finished Dragon Ball and like starting Dragon Ball Z, and it's like hitting me right, and it's because of losing him, and I'm like, and I'm not the biggest. I've spent many years saying Dragon Ball was lame, and I've recently in my 38th year of life found out how terribly wrong I was, like, and I'm getting to like experience that, like, anyway. But yeah, love manga and can see a lot of that like inspiration in Space Mullet. But then like fast forwarding right to fast forwarding to another previous moment of your career with Extremity.
Mm,
I have a problem with Extremity, dude. Like
hit me.
I knew, I was like, I can't wait to just like pick this bone with this mastermind artist, right? I don't think there's any exposition in Extremity. If there is, I missed it. There's no exposition, and
Not
you
much.
you make a world that is fantastical and ridiculous in all the best ways, right? And everything just makes sense. You make this world, you start dropping like giant praying mantises into it and giant falcons that people ride and like three-headed dragons, and we just trust you. We're like, yeah, this is the place for that. Of course it is. Why wouldn't it? Why wouldn't it be? Of like, duh, I should have known that these three-headed dragons and giant birds of prey existed in this realm, right? You did so much world building through your art and comic book dialogue, neither of which you get a ton of space, right? You had 12 issues, dude. You
No.
had 12 issues, and like I haven't really experienced world building like that. That's my bone to pick with you, is you're too good. You need to calm down. Like Daniel, you gotta save some for later. No, I'm just kidding. Like, please don't like keep putting it all out there. But like, it was so impressive, dude. Like I said, all this storytelling, all this world, and you do this in all your stories. You don't ever really waste time, which is good because in this medium, right? You can't waste time. Like the
Mm.
people, when you do waste time, you really notice it, and it slogs, and it's like, dude, you only had 22 pages. You spent 4 picking up a piece of cheese at the grocery store. I don't know what's something, right? Like, you're never picking up cheese at the grocery store, dude. The cheese is already there. It's
Yep.
melted or how sliced up, shredded, however it needs to be, right? It's always ready. I don't know why I went with cheese in this metaphor, but whatever, we'll go with it. And I love cheese. It's good. It's very good. uh anyway, um how when you're scripting, or when you do a lot of, when you control the page as much as you do because you're doing the line art, because you're writing the script as well, um how, like, what do you have, like notebooks full of stories that like don't make it, do you do a lot of like pre-planning or pre-writing? I was curious of like, like if you have like huge diaries or databases of like what goes on in these realms, right? Because it's just, everything feels so real and flushed out, like you're a DM kind of, right? And you know
Sure.
all the rules, and you're ready for anything. And you just lay it out so efficiently and clean, and it's really impressive.
Well, thank you. Um,
And you
and
did that
it's
so long ago. Well, not like so long ago, but like you're
it's
even
like eight
better now.
years.
You're even better now, which is like, why? What are you like? Ow! Stop it! God, no, please don't stop it. That was a joke.
No,
Um,
dude, I got you. I think a big part of it is I'll talk about Extremity. So, um, with Extremity, I really had something to prove. I wanted to really try and do a story that people could take seriously. With a title like, because before with a title like Space Mullet, I can kind of rest on the fact that it has a silly title and the guy has a mustache and he has a mullet. It's like out of style, and I can kind of like, haha, well, it can't be that good, haha, if you don't like it. With Extremity, where everything's like so serious and like an artist has lost their identity and all this, it's a revenge story that turns out to be not super revengey. It's like I felt like I really had to rise to the occasion, and I felt like I had to just bring my A game. So, my favorite films and TV shows and comics are ones that don't necessarily have any captions. That you're just kind of presented with the story and you're forced to walk through it. One of my favorite movies of all time is Children of Men with Clive Owen, 2008, and like they do not tell you a lot of stuff. Basically, women can't have babies anymore. It's in the future, near future, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so intense. And the camera just follows the characters to their natural conclusion. And because of that, the writing has to be like you can't be we can't be like making like you said, we can't waste time. And especially in comics, it's especially important to not waste time, because like I can't just draw forever. I can't just continue to draw all these cool scenes. And so in answer to your question, I don't necessarily have tomes of like notes of writing. I have like pretty intense scripts that I've written for myself and breakdowns and different ideas. What I do have, I'll show you if I can find it. Hold on. I have stacks of these sketchbooks. This is only a small fraction of like, all these sketchbooks that I have. Extremity Concepts Volume 3, Extremity Concept Art Volume 2. Let's see, Extremity Concept Volume 1, which I'll show you. It's just this whole thing is full of Extremity concept art. So kind of like you mentioned, right? Like I'm not telling you things, I'm showing you things. Because I showed so much, I did so much sketching to figure things out. Like, let's try and find. Here's like what, remember Rallo's mech at the end of the series? This is what it was originally going to look like, till I completely changed it because I was an insane person. And so there's like character designs in here. There's like location design. Let's see. Here I was trying to come up with like doors and like things that maybe look different, like really boring things that you would only look at for like a half second in a panel. I'm over here like, it's gotta be perfect. So all that to say, the visual world building was something that I do have tomes of, and I just have to turn on my shill hat really fast. With this Kickstarter that's going on, we have a book that goes along with the signature edition, which is just the Art of Extremity. It's like a hardcover book, and it has all this crap in it. So all the visual tome stuff you're talking about, it's all baked in there in the one book that kind of shows that visual process of how I was able to show, not tell. So there you go. Shill hat off. Thank you very much for the compliment.
No problem. And speaking of not wasting time, I know you're busy man, and you got places to be. So I do want to wrap it up by, everybody knows you're writing Transformers, and everybody knows it's a big deal for you, and it's very important, and it comes from this your love of I loved in that first issue when you talk about the losing the hands, the Optimus hands on the bus, like who hasn't been there, right? Who hasn't lost like some key accessory? For me, it was like Ninja Turtle weapons. I couldn't keep those things for the life of me, right?
Totally.
But like you have sparked an interest in so many people now with the property that we all knew, and a lot of us watched the movies, but it was weird. Like I've wanted to read the books. I was confused at where to start at IDW, right? I was like, it's a big deal. They had all those hardcovers. It was expensive to get them all. So it was just like, I kept thinking about it, never did. Now you've given us this chance. You have 6 issues. You can read the other GI Joe and books and stuff with them, or you can just read Transformers. It's so smart how you guys are laying all this out.
Thank you.
Where do you where are you going to take us on the, like the trade's wrapping up? What is it? Trade comes out hold
May.
on, the May 8th, right? You get the first six, you can go get them now, or you can get the trade May 8th. But like obviously you can't spoil anything, right? But it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and the robots are already gigantic, right? And like it sounds like sales numbers are good, so you guys can keep doing what you want. Like what's your goal? What's your goal here? Like what's your end game for Transformers, and to pay respects to the childhood Daniel Warren Johnson who lost the hands of Optimus Prime? How do you make it up to Optimus now, Daniel? You've already
I
made it
think
up to him, by the way. I'm kidding. But
I think the goal with Transformers um is to surprise and to just to make something that is special. Like with anything that I do, that's always the goal. I'm always trying to make something that I'm proud of, whether I am writing and drawing or just writing. I am trying to make something that I myself can be proud of and look back with excitement and joy myself. Um, which I can honestly say, I mean, even for all of the learnings and mistakes and Extremity and Space Mullet and all my early stuff, and the mistakes are things that I maybe wish I could change now in my more recent work. You know, I still actively enjoy looking at it, and it's something that I'm still proud of because I know what I put into it, and it was honest, and it was like I was just doing my darn best, and that's what I'm doing on Transformers. Like my goal is to do my absolute best. And speaking of doing their best, Jorge Corona on this second arc, like it is, it's so cool.
yeah.
he's he's killing it. It's so exciting to see. So I would say know that I'm doing my best, and know that Jorge is kicking ass and taking names on this new Transformers arc. Like for real.
Well, I'm excited. Everybody else better be excited. If you're not, you're wrong, and it's okay to be wrong. You know, you can change. People can change. But yeah, okay. So we've got. I just want to remind everybody: Transformers Volume 1, May 8th, Extremity, hardcover deluxe edition, November 19th, Space Mullet, a little sooner. That new trade comes out July 9th. I would highly recommend pre-ordering everything, and any other thing Daniel ever does. If you see his name on a cover, I would put it on your pull list. If you won't regret it, it's impossible to regret, dude. It's so everything you're doing for comics, at comics, and you're just so cool. Everything. I love your books. I love your art, and you're also just a really nice person. Everybody told me because I was nervous, and they were like, "He's the nicest guy ever. You're gonna be fine," and they were right. You are.
Oh
So.
yeah, dude.
This is so cool. I really appreciate you taking the time, and I can't wait to see what else you bring to 2024, man. I love reading your stuff.
Thank you, brother. I really appreciate it. Thanks for the awesome questions. Thanks for the vibes. F Tuesdays, and I'll see you soon.
Yes.
Peace.